Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kim Boyson, and I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Residence Life working here in the Towers. I'm excited to share some information with you and know that it's important for your success as a staff member. So I'm going to share my presentation. We're talking this morning about departmental communication plan and expectations for providing feedback and assessment. So a lot of it has to do with the kinds of information that you're going to be sharing up within the department, as well as limitations to some of that in terms of sharing out, as well as the kind of communication that you can expect from department leaders to be sharing back with you. The first thing that I wanted to be sharing with you is the importance of trust and transparency. We will be speaking openly and honestly with each other. As a department, we want to have open and honest dialogue about student experiences. So we really value and rely on the interactions that you have with students and that the professional staff members have with students, as well as the observations that you all have in your roles. Those things that you observe, that you see, that you learn are important to share with your supervisors and through our assessment process. Those assessments reports will be reviewed by Alex in full, as well as by Kathleen, Allen, and the other ADs as they're able. Summary information from all of the areas of campus will be shared back with all professional staff as well as paraprofessional staff, so that we can then use that information to guide our next steps. We never want to take information and then not do anything with it. So we're gathering it, we're reviewing it, and then figuring out what's important and sharing back, so then we can take next steps. Your voice matters, and what you gather from your residents' experiences is important. Also important is asking for feedback and suggestions through our formal and informal processes. So we're going to be getting that feedback through all of the assessments that we do and the assignments that we have for you. So through paraprofessional development, what's happening in August as well as in January, where we have more formal sessions, is important that you complete the assessment following that, so that we can see what you learned, what was important, and how we can make improvements in that development for the future. We'll also be having in-service sessions, so those will be periodically throughout the semester, generally an hour or 2 hours in length. And so those will be ways that we can be providing development opportunities for you, and then figuring out how valuable they were and what we need to do in the future. And then throughout your course as a staff member, through the link process that you'll be doing formally through your job, you'll be implementing a lot of strategies through your intentional interactions, through your community meetings, your roommate conversations, etc. Those are all things that we're going to be wanting that information and asking you to participate, expecting you to participate in the assessment process. And then as well as the department surveys that we will do. You're probably familiar with Sky Factor, either through the resident survey or as a staff member, if you're returning. But those are surveys that we do annually for staff, and then every other year for residents. And so those are surveys that you are expected to participate in. So I'm a little bit late on the slide there, but you will see again a reminder that those paraprofessional development experiences, formal, informal, as well as link, and then the department surveys. Department structure and communication is important for you to understand. So as a structure, we have a director, an associate director, 5 assistant directors, and then the hall directors working with all of them, and then all of the paraprofessional staff working with them. So each reports to another, and then we all do communicate back and forth, as you will see the arrows. So we do have a chain of command as part of that process. Ultimately, Kathleen as director is responsible for the direction that we are going and the decisions that are made. Now, ultimately, it's President Davies, and so you'll see his hat hanging out there, because there's times when he and the other senior leadership are going to step in and decide for us as a department what we need to do. Understand that there's multiple decision-making processes, so sometimes the leader's going to decide. Sometimes they're going to consult with other people and then still decide. Sometimes they're going to consult with others and then develop a decision collaboratively with the group. And then sometimes that delegation is actually to another individual, to the group as a whole. So you're going to experience this within your paraprofessional staff role, and you'll see it within the hall director and the assistant associate director and director ranks as well. In almost all of these decision-making processes, you will get to have your say. You will get to be able to speak your mind, share your feedback. But at the end of the day, a decision is going to need to be made by someone who will be held accountable for that outcome. And so that's why sometimes you get to consult, you get to share feedback, but somebody else will end up deciding. Please note that there are going to be significant, or probably going to be significant incidents on campus, and residence life is going to need to follow the guidance of university communication and CMU's leadership team before we can speak publicly or take action. We are part of the CMU structure and process, and so with some of those important things, there may be things we want to respond to, but because of the folks above, they're going to be the one charting the course for us in that. A little ahead though, so don't look at, let's go back. What information is shared? As a staff member, you may have access to residence life insider information, decisions that can and will be considered. What can be shared with residents, with your family or friends, with friends or family of your residents and others? Simply directory information. We can't share private and confidential information about residents. There is a communication plan. We have a pretty specific outline for the kinds of incidents and issues and concerns that need to be communicated up and out to members within our department. So those things cover a wide range of topics. They could be bias or Title IX incidents, or even simply facility concerns. But those are all things that need to be reported, and then the hall director will report up as needed and then report as out as needed. You have a crucial role in making sure that information is shared in a timely manner with your supervising RD or RHD, or the RD or RHD on call, so that they can inform the appropriate people if they need to do that. So when in doubt, share the information. Now we'll go to this slide. So what information can you not share and why? FERPA, okay, FERPA, but FERPA, and then HIPAA, not HIPPO. Those are a couple laws that do limit the kinds of things that we can share. So FERPA stands for the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and it covers the entire educational experience for students, their academic experience, their conduct experience, counseling, mental health, their involvement on campus, their campus employment, roommate issues, those kinds of things. And at CMU we request that students sign a release of information when a situation presents itself, so that the student is actually granting permission for us to share information or speak about their situation. Without that permission, we can't talk to others. A student can't give permission for me to talk to their parents about their roommate's behavior or their roommate's situation. So I do get calls from parents, and I can't talk to them about their student or other students in the room without express written permission by that student, or verbal permission if we're all sitting in the same space. Important to note also is that if students do share their password information with a parent or someone else, they are essentially giving permission for that person to know whatever's accessible through that login and password information. Speaking about HIPAA, it's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. That includes mental health, all medical health, that's private and confidential. So we can't share students' mental or physical health concerns with roommates, neighbors, parents, etc. So anytime you get asked about someone and you're not sure, err on the side of caution. Simply don't say anything. And you can refer that person to your supervisor or the RHD/RD on call. In times of COVID or with other significant health concerns, Staff cannot share with roommates or with others what is known about an impacted student or resident. Only the resident can share that information. When a professional staff or I talk with parents or others, we can only speak in generalities then. Since we don't have that permission, we can say, I can't talk to you about your student's room conflict, but I can share with you that this is the process that we follow when we have a room conflict or this kind of situation that's happening. When in doubt, don't share, and know that you need to report up so that the liability is lifted from your shoulders to those of someone with a bigger paycheck. So thank you so much for your attention, and I hopefully you feel a little bit more comfortable with the information that you are accountable for and expected to share with supervisors in the department, and understand better how Residence Life will be communicating with you.